Reggae Boys fans, my name is Simon Preston. Welcome to Reggae Boys Commentary. My good friend over there is Mr. Blake, DJ, passport expert, football expert, Yorkshire expert, footballing expert, sporting expert, youth expert. I think his CV is roughly about 55 pages. Mr. Blake, what's I going?
I'm in mourning.
After we just had such a wonderful video talking about our girls, and now we're to speak about what happened 2 days ago, I'd rather talk about the girls.
I'm in mourning, Simon.
Straight to the funeral we go.
We were put to the sword, chopped up like sushi,
Quite
eaten
literally.
raw,
Yeah.
and full black, Simon. Only thing left now is the 9-night ban. Roll, Jordan, roll. Roll, Jordan, roll.
Lara, let's start this on a positive note before we get into some solutions. A very special big up to you, Omar Holness. You're on the move. Left Darlington FC. You've gone to greener pastures at Bath City FC in Somerset. Earn that money, my friend. Earn that money. Get that wedding of your dream that we've always spoken about for you and your wifey. Make it happen. All the best to you on the next chapter of your career. So, Mr. Blake, for as long as you've watched Reggae Boys commentary, you'd have seen an area that I have been quite anxious about. Is the man that sits right in front of the defense. That person we call the defensive midfielder, the holding midfielder. In England, in Italy, they call him the regista.
Gennaro Gattuso.
Gattuso.
The exponent of that. You know this position, Simon. What happened in Japan was embarrassing in the midfield. And we have to say, who's going to bodyguard the bodyguard?
Yeah.
And that position in the center of the park, Jamaicans now come to know it as CDM. We used to call it the link man. Because we didn't put a lot of emphasis on the destructive part of the portfolio. Nor did we put a lot of emphasis on the holding of the ball and controlling the tempo and pace of the game that it was necessary. René Simoes, when he came, we had lots of lovely, skillful pieces. Exhibit A being our current national coach, Theodore Tapper Whitmore. Skillful footballer. Brocky Boo. Deft of touch and could drop his shoulder and leave a man in the wake on his backside. And we'd all clap for that. But Simoes knew that there was a piece missing. And I hope that Sir Tapper, the now national coach, remembers who were in the midfield that allowed him to express himself. At age 34 years old, Coach Simoes made a call to Israel.
I remember that call.
And asked Peter Cargill, OC Jer, to come on board the project. The Road to France. Some of you might be young. You don't remember, you weren't there. It was called the Road to France. Prior to that, we used to get beaten by Martinique and all kind of embarrassing results. We couldn't win the Caribbean Cup, you know. And what Samoa saw was that we needed some stability in the middle of the park. someone to hold the ball up and retain possession and be an outlet for the attacking players if the play broke down. And he sent for Peter Cargill, and Peter Cargill at age 34 accepted that role. When we went to the World Cup, we invited 34-year-old Robbie Earl, now MBE, Sir Robbie Earl. You have to put some respect on the name.
I remember him.
As the box-to-box, the other central midfielder operating in a sort of different capacity, but to carry the ball from box to box. But to work alongside Peter Cargill to retain possession of the ball, care for the ball, and allow the attacking midfielders, Tapper Whitmore, Walter Boyd, the exciting striker, put the long pass up to Anandi Lowe, our tower of strength there, and then Marcus Gale came in when we qualified. But really to ensure that we had steel in the middle of the field. And what we saw in Japan was we build a building and there's no steel in the concrete. So any little earthquake or any little samurai, the building never fall.
Simple.
So you must have steel in the middle of the park. We need enforcers. And the truth is, we have now tried out, and we speak the facts here. No disrespect to anybody. A baller can go, develop himself, lift his game, get to a world-class standard, and we hope so. But right now, at this minute, for this Gold Cup, we don't have no steel in our building, and it will crumble.
And that's the reality. Yeah.
There's nobody guarding the bodyguard. The two central defenders at the back are exposed and having to run and make more tackles and blocks and interceptions. And the truth is that this is a position that is not always played by a young player because it requires some maturity. It requires a football IQ to be able to read the game and be able to intercept the danger before it happens and snuff it out. So you have a Brian Ruiz there in Central America, 35. As a matter of fact, the CDM for the Japan Olympic team was 36. And ran rings around 20-year-olds, 28 or 27, 20-somethings. So I'm saying to all of Jamaica, age is just a number. Let us work. Let us work on meritocracy. You're good.
Ability.
You're good.
Ability.
Heart, commitment, desire. So where we are right now, Simon, and you can tell me if you agree with my assessment. The thing already in the middle. We need some steel. And we have tried Kevin Lambert. We have tried Devon Speedy Williams, which is not really his original position, but we have tried him there. We have tried Damian Lowe. People got excited, but I say to you, a CDM can survive for 40 minutes. Cap a boss. Because the kind of running that you have to do as a central defensive midfielder is a different kettle of fish from a centre back. And he was at fault for the goal that scored in the Serbia game because he had run out of steam. He was at first of all, he didn't track the runner coming in, the number 2. Which is the responsibility of the central defensive midfielder. Once the runner enters into the danger zone, you have to get something on the player. Foul him outside of the dangerous free kick area or track back with him. But he cannot be escorted or, in the case that happened, unescorted, allowed to take a shot, which Red Harding blocked, and then allowed to receive the ball again, take his time, set himself, and curl it past Dennis Taylor with several central defenders just watching the act as if it was a kung fu movie, you know, like when we used to go to cinema and watch Bruce Lee. That's what we were doing.
Or Jackie Chan for the people of the 90s.
Jackie Chan. Drunken Master. You know?
Yeah.
So what we needed was Damon Lowe needed to have raced out from inside the box. He was badly positioned and closed down when the block was made so that it was not such a free shot. So we need some steal. We have tried all that we can try. We have Kevin Isaacs has had 2 opportunities in the United States game. I'm going to call a spade a spade. It was lost. And Kevin Lambert in this game, there was a lot of clamor for Clefon. And he has been given his opportunity. And I tell you what I saw. The name Lambert was not called until minute 43. CDM name needs to be called every few minutes in the game because you should be dictating the pace and involved in what is happening. So that, my friend, was not a happy ending. So what do we think should happen? No, where are we now, Simon? Where are we now?
A little spot of bother. We're in a little spot of bother. And I'll be frank with you. I'm not going to discard Kevin Lambert, but I'm not saying he should start because he has some assets that can help moving forward. He's 23, and when you think about a holding midfielder, sometimes you don't see the best of them until they're 28 or even more. He has some great things about him. And I think if you move that man out of his North American environment and you put him in Europe, you'll see that boy progress from a boy to a man.
I have to respect your view, Simon. I don't speak about discarding players. I speak about having a heart-to-heart and discussion with them, and certainly from our side, a constructive criticism. For Kevin Lambert, I say, dominate the USL. Get yourself out of that league, my friend. And impress at such a rate that you may be picked up by an MLS team, which is a step up, and then another step up into some tier in Europe. But this thing can't work, brother. Simon, there's while he may have attributes, there are certainly a lot of missing pieces to his game. And he has to work on that. Dedicate himself in training. But the Reggae Boyz national team is not a training squad. What I think we require the finished product. Players who are ready to deliver and take us to Qatar 2020. Yeah. And certainly in the short term, we need to be able to impress at the Gold Club so that those players who are unattached like Ravel, who will obviously be given an important role, need to have good results that they can get themselves attached to some club, some professional club, and others can move up into the new season. We can't go this and get knocked out in the first round, brother. But now I spend my money go to Orlando for that.
No, sir. That would be that's a disgrace. Disgrace if that were to happen.
I don't know cheap thing. The ticket them expensive right now. Orlando at Disney World. I don't know why they never put the game in Miami or Fort Lauderdale. The whole of Jamaica them there. We have to go to Orlando. Disney World price we have to pay for the hotel them. But we take our last dollar and support our team. So we need to see something good.
Yeah,
and the public
I understand.
is demanding it. And the embarrassment of riches that we have demands that we lift the Gold Cup. There are some hiccups and hitches, But there are at least 3 options available to the Jamaica Football Federation: Theodore Tapper Whitmore, Jerome Jerry Waite, the assistant coach, Mr. Rudolph Speed, the head of the technical committee. There are 3 options available for Jamaica. We need to have plan A, plan B, and in some effect, plan C. I would think in a squad, so if you follow England, you need to have 3 central defensive midfielders in the squad in case of injury, or in case you are going to play a 2 holding midfielder pattern, as was done with England today, where Declan Rice and Calvin Phillips played in the center of the park. But despair not, Reggae Boys fans. For those of you who are faithful to the channel, hit the like, hit the subscribe button. But our faithful followers will remember that first stat show we did. What about the central defensive midfield? And so, Simon, that was a cursory glance. I don't want people to think that when we came here, we try to break down the maths a little bit so it not get too hard and boring. But I think at this point, Simon, we need to dig deep and look and examine what is available to us. I hope the GFF watches this video. I hope someone likes and subscribes. I hope you share it so that it gets there, because the decision we're going to make in the next 24 hours could determine whether it all falls down or we have something to build around. Who has a passport? Who ready to come in?
N'Golo Kante.
You mean the French Anthony Grant?
The French Anthony Grant.
But he's France. He's right there in the UEFA.
Yeah, the Euros, yeah.
But I think there are 3 players who are now in some position of eligibility at various stages. Jordan Cousins at Stoke City, who I understand has his passport. Anthony Grant at Swindon Town, who played for Swindon Town in the last season, and Jordan Cousins, who played for Stoke in the last season, who is a Jamaican citizen and has been for a couple of weeks now. And his passport is en route via DHL to him back in England. And I'm sure in a couple of days he'll be able to take a picture and go on Instagram and show everybody. But he has been a citizen for a couple of weeks, enjoying it. Had his birthday on the 4th of June. And Kevin Stewart, who has begun the process of obtaining his citizenship. And I understand the GFF are working assiduously to see how they can have that fast track. Kudos to the president and his team. Finally listening to us that you have to push the car sometime if the car stalled.
And some breaking news. President of the Jamaica Football Federation is having a meeting with Mr. Lawrence Vigouroux.
Wow. 6'5", Lawrence Vigouroux.
Leighton Orient.
The reincarnation of Tall P, Donovan Ricketts. Let's see. But I don't want to be unfair to Dylan Barnes, and this show is so serious that I'm not going to take up any time with any extraneous matters. Go watch the video. Go watch the deal. Of Lawrence Vigouroux. I think there was a part 1 and a part 2.
Yes, sir.
And I don't want to be unfair to Dylan Barnes. He was my man of the match. It's very unfortunate for the young man that he was called in for this debacle. But he was not at fault for any of the 4 goals, including the synchronized swimming 4-man salad get bus goal.
True.
That we need to contact the Guinness Book of World Records. So, Simon, are you aware of any others apart from these three young men? I know that Marvin Bartley in Scotland,
Mm-hmm.
and there's certainly, let me get that name, also down in the even lower leagues, James Perch,
Mm-hmm.
who does have a Jamaican passport and is a mystery as to why he was on the bench for the Nigeria. He was called up to the Nigeria game and broke his shoulder before and just seemed to have dropped off the map. Inexplicable. For at least a decade, he has been available to Jamaica. And he was playing at the Premier League at that time, or certainly in the Championship, I think. So I want us to delve into 3 and 0 down and be, quite frankly, in Reggae Boyz commentary's opinion, who should be on the plane?
And before you answer that question, I'll just tell the viewers as well that Marvin Bartley indeed does have a Jamaican passport and was part of the pool for the 2014 qualifiers. But under the stewardship and leadership of Alfredo Monteso and Theodore Tappa Whitmore, they liked Marvin Elliott more based on what he brought from the attacking perspective. He would win headers from corners and so on and so forth. So Marvin Elliott was the one of the two that they liked more. As it relates to others in this particular scenario, we'll talk a little bit more about those in discussion, but that's the reason why we haven't seen Marvin Bartley compete in national colours.
And Simon, I hope a similar error is not made. I don't believe we should turn our back on any talent. Marvin Bartley has turned out to be a beast. He's at 35 years old, competed in every single game for Livingston. He's the captain of Livingston, and Livingston is one of the big clubs in Scotland. Dare I say, don't throw out the baby with the bathwater. Find a place and a way to make it work, to have the talent. Repeat after me, Jamaica. Pool. A deep pool. Marvin Bartley with his Jamaican passport up there in Scotland. Might have to call grandfather, because he's older than all 3 of these players here.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that we are having some concerns with age, but let's get on with it. By the way, unconstitutional to deny somebody an opportunity on the basis of age. Every Jamaican has a right.
Yes, sir.
Age, race, and gender cannot be criteria to deny any Jamaican the opportunity to work. And this football is work. Just a fun fact. If there are any constitutional lawyers in there, drop a comment below and let me know if I'm correct. But certainly under the ILO conventions, in a right. Certainly not when Chiellini at 38 was captaining and marshalling the Italian team that won the opening game. Enough said about that. So, Simon, what does the stats tell us about these 3 players as we have a frank look? And this is going to be a no holds barred. And I'm going to show you, because sometimes some people just think that Reggae Boyz commentary would think a little bit. You know, Lily, our work that we do, Simon and myself, is deep. And we've gotten into a new field, Simon, haven't we? Genealogy. Our good friend from Minnesota University. We have teamed up with, and we have started trace the player them ancestry so that we can get more accurately with our identification of Jamaicans. So let me share and see what the stats tell us. And let me know.
Yep, good to go.
right up there. And let me set in. I'm going to set my figures. Good. Anthony Grant, Swindon Town FC, played 33 games. And I'm going to add something to this. Show you how diverse our tool is. Let me look at minutes played, number of times started, number of touches, ball recovery, possession lost. We are going to look at all of that. If you remember, we just had a little thing about goals and stuff. So sit back and prepare, lovers of stats. Anthony Grant, and what I want us to look at, if you can, Simon, the star beside the name tells you the player that is top in that category, right?
Yeah.
And so let me get my, well, you're not looking at me, but I need to get my light charged up, Simon. So Anthony Grant has played 33 games.
Yes.
Kevin Stewart, 16. And Jordan Cousins, 19.
Right.
And as I said, this is going to be a fair discussion and dialogue. Kevin Stewart was released at the end of the last season and was without a club for 6 months, and then joined Blackpool FC in League One, the same league as Anthony, in January. So these 16 games represent he would only have been available for half of the season. And then he suffered an injury during that season, an already shortened season, and so he only played 16 games, but respected at his club because he came back for the all-important playoffs, which Blackpool won promotion to the championships, defeating my second team, Oxford United. Go Use, you'll be back. And he was trusted to play the full minutes in both the semi-finals and finals. So that tells me that the player has recovered from his injury and is ready to play again. So I don't have that concern. Jordan Cousins, on the other hand, the failure to play as many games must be a cause for concern because he had a whole season. So Anthony Grant has played the most games at 33 games. In terms of minutes played, and I want you to pay attention, remember that I said to you that Kevin Stewart has only really had a little less than half of a season.
That is true.
2,760 minutes at age 34. Does that sound to you like somebody who is aging?
No.
So Anthony Grant has played a little less than 3,000 minutes of football this season in those legs. And if you see him and look at the specimen, you will see that he is a beast. They don't call him the general or the judge for nothing. Kevin Stewart, 1,156 minutes, and Jordan Cousins, 842 minutes. This number here is a concern. I'm going to call it down the line as I see it. Anthony Grant, 31 starts. Kevin Stewart, 13 starts. Jordan Cousins, 8 starts. Now, why I say this is a concern for me, Simon? Do you know who the starting central defensive midfielder is over there at Stoke City?
It's not Jordan.
No, it's one John Obi Mikel, age 35. So what it means is that Jordan has not been able to displace a 35-year-old. And that That's a concern for me because, as I said before, we want world-class players. So you ought to be starting for your club week in, week out. And I think that two of these footballers has ticked that box. Kevin Stewart, when he came back from injury, and well, Anthony Grant, we know he has been doing it for at least a decade without missing games, really.
Right.
Let's look at what happens. And I'm going to sometimes refer to my spreadsheet that I have because I have a little more analysis, and I'm going to pop that spreadsheet up for you to see. And this spreadsheet has replaced my infamous book. Remember that paper book that we had when we just started out live, Simon?
Yes, I remember that book has been through quite a bit.
Hell and high water.
It's probably traveled to more countries than a lot of people.
Okay, now why am I not seeing Excel? What are you doing, Excel? See, Excel is trying to annoy me. Oh, here we go.
Yes.
This is really a computer. It's getting a bit slow. Cataract have too much dub plate on it. Yeah, boy. But the thing is, I don't know which dub plate to take off. You know, we're a champion song, Simon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There we go. Okay, so let's look at touches. And I'm going to try to highlight, format the cells and highlight the players, and I'm going to try and format it in what color should I format it in? Let us fill Jordan Cousins, Kevin, and Anthony. Let us see if we can put you in, fill you in red, let you stand out. Okay. Stand out in red, and I'm going to change Jordan to, good thing I was paying attention in those IT classes. You're
Yes.
seeing me, Simon, now. Okay.
Yeah.
So, viewers and subscribers, touches per season. Jordan Cousins had 419 touches per season for the entire season.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a rate of 22 touches per game. And let me tell everybody, you can't go nowhere and Google this. This is mathematical work that Simon and myself have done assiduously. Simon requested a deeper look at it, and we applied some comparative analysis. 22 touches per game versus Anthony Grant, who had 1,719 touches, and Kevin Stewart, who only played half a season, had 556. Anthony has 52 touches per game, and Kevin Stewart has 54 touches per game. So what does that tell you? Both Kevin and Anthony are 2 times more involved in a game than Jordan Cousins. As a matter of fact, Jordan's 22 touches per game is the lowest amongst any central defensive midfielder playing of Jamaican heritage, playing their trade.
That's right.
Ball recovery. Jordan Cousins 68, recovered the ball 68 times for the season. Anthony Grant 187. And Kevin Stewart 53. That means in terms of ball recovery, you're talking almost 100 recoveries by Anthony. So when the ball is lost and the play breaks down, Anthony Grant is the man you look to win the ball back. Loss of possession. I'm going to give you the raw figures and then give you some analysis. For the season, Jordan Cousins lost the ball 107 times. Anthony lost the ball 304 times. And Kevin Stewart 129. And I know we would say, wow, the player lost the ball 304 times. The general did. But that's why at Reggae Boyz commentary, we do analysis.
No fluff.
No fluff. What you need to look at is how many times you lose the ball, the ratio between how many times you touch the ball to how many times you lose the ball. And what's the touch to loss ratio? Every 4 times that Jordan Cousins touches the ball is lost. And every 6 times Anthony Grant touches the ball, he loses it. And every 5 times Kevin Stewart touches the ball, he loses it. So, although the number of times it lost might look away, the truth is that Anthony Grant is the most careful player with the ball. As a matter of fact, he is on par with Lewis Baker and who is this player? Let me see if it is Josh Grant. He's on par certainly with Lewis Baker and Lewis Thompson, who is on loan from Norwich City at MK Dons, but who doesn't have a passport. But those are the 3 players who are at 6 touches before they lose a ball. Now, when you're at 4 touches before you lose a ball, it means that a quarter of the touches that you get, you're going to lose them. And that, I think, Simon, is what we have been seeing with our Jamaican central defensive midfielders. And I don't know if that figure fills you with any confidence, Simon.
Correct. You're right.
Right. Isaac Hayden, just for comparative, loses the ball once every 5 times he touches it. And that 1 in 5 is about what you would be expecting from a fairly good, decent CDM. If you're at 6 and 7, you don't really get to 7. If you're at 6 and those at that, like Lewis Baker and Anthony, you are really at elite holding the ball. Goals, assists, and chances created. For Jordan Cousins, 0 goals, 0 assists, 4 chances created. Anthony Grant, 3 goals, no assists, 6 chances created. Kevin Stewart, no goals, no assists, and 5 chances created. So, in terms of attacking production, Anthony Grant is the only one of the 3 who has scored any goals. He has scored 3 goals for the season. And he has created the most chances of any of the 3 CDMs. But we must also point out that the 5, these are of the ones available of Jamaican heritage. 6, 5, and 4 are not impressive numbers. So I'm going to call a spade a spade. Because you know what's impressive, Simon?
Yeah.
Lewis Baker created 49 chances this season in the Turkish Premier League. Let that pause and sink in. LB, who should be our number 1 target, created 49 chances. The Hombre, who is waiting until he's 28, created 7 chances. Now, if single-digit chances is not good, right? Because you have other players. Marvin Bartley created 12 chances in Scotland. Just letting that sit there and stew for a while. And Corey Smith at Swansea created 19. So you really want to be creating double-digit. So none of the 3, even though Anthony has created 6 and is the most, it's not impressive. But Anthony's 3 goals is the highest number of goals scored by any. And certainly 3-goal contribution from your CDM is particularly good. In terms of passing, because I think you alluded to earlier, Simon, that you have to have the accuracy in the passing. You wanted a link man. The gold standard is Lewis Baker, who attempted 1,673 passes at 89%. There's another young man by the name of Ravel Morrison, and go watch that video. Is he all hype or all hope? He's at the 89% passing accuracy, which we said is certainly elite, top of top, world class, better than world class.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not likely to find that readily. But in terms of passing accuracy or passing, let's look at it. Jordan Cousins has passed the ball 322 times at a passing accuracy of 72. Anthony Grant, 1,342 passes at an accuracy of 81%. Kevin Stewart, 416 passes at an accuracy of 76%. So Anthony Grant is the only one of the three who is in the 80% bracket. Isaac Hayden is at 80%. Marvin Bartley is at 80%. That's the company that you want to be in. And I hope I have Simon's agreement, because that's what measures your link play. And when we go back to my other source, I'm going to break down the kinds of passes. But I just want you to remember that number. We are talking, in Anthony Grant, we are talking an 81% accuracy passer versus Cousins, who is a 72% accurate passer, versus Kevin Stewart, who is at 76%. In terms of tackles made, and you're going to find that viewers that this just becomes a recurring theme, and then we will state what the obvious is. 17 tackles made by Jordan Cousins, 50 tackles made by Anthony Grant, and 26 tackles made by Kevin Stewart. But in order to be fair to the footballers, because they've played a different number of games, I broke it down by number of tackles per game. Jordan Cousins is averaging less than 1 tackle per game. Anthony Grant has 1.5 tackles per game. That means every 2 games he has 3 tackles. And Kevin Stewart averages 2 tackles per game. So even though the number may be less for Kevin is tackling at a higher rate than Anthony Grant. But Anthony certainly has put about more tackles, right? And when we come out of the Excel spreadsheet, I'm going to highlight that to you some more. In terms of fouls won versus fouls conceded, and why is this important, Simon? You don't want your CDM giving away senseless fouls in that crucial second third of the field where we can allow the opposition to have an indirect free kick, or worse yet, in our third, where the free kick specialists of the world can feed on us. If we should ever come up to England, against England, we would not want to have James Ward-Prowse or someone like Christian Eriksen. By the way, let's mention that, Simon. Our prayers go out to Christian Eriksen of Denmark for a speedy recovery. Really a frightening moment.
Indeed.
And all of football should keep Christian Eriksen our players. A dead ball specialist and midfielder par excellence. So you want a footballer that can win, that gets fouled a lot, meaning he wins a lot of fouls and concedes less. So you want that win to concede ratio to be win more fouls, concede less. Kevin Stewart has won 11 fouls, conceded 11 fouls for the season. Hold your bet for this. Anthony Grant has won 74 fouls, conceded 32. Kevin Stewart won 18 fouls and conceded 25. I want to pause there. There is no other player in the central defensive apart from Anthony Grant and Marvin Bartley, or certainly in England. Let me go in England. And we said that Lewis Baker was our gold standard. You would agree?
Yes, I would agree.
Lewis Baker has won 19 fouls. Anthony Grant has won 74. Isaac Hayden, while he's going towards his 28th birthday, has won 17 fouls. Anthony Grant has won 74. That is like nearly four times the number of fouls. What does that mean? That we are going to get over a campaign 74 indirect or direct free kicks. That's 74 chances to score from a set piece. This player creates goal scoring opportunities by being resilient and being fouled and not getting fouled. And I think that is probably one of the most impressive statistics that we can say about the general. Aerial duels. 54 aerial duels at a 61% rate. That's how many Jordan Cousins has won. Anthony Grant has won 84 aerial duels at a 52% rate. And Kevin Stewart, 10 aerial duels at a 50% rate. And so we have to acknowledge Jordan Cousins as the real dominant aerial presence amongst these three CDMs. And as a matter of fact, he's the second best because only Isaac Hayden with 62% aerial duel success has a higher success ratio. So that would be the strength that Jordan Cousins would bring to the Reggae Boyz in the middle of the park. He'd be able to win headers that come into the middle of the park. But the truth is, Simon, in my estimation, and you can give your take, is that you don't find many long balls being played into that central midfield area. It's mostly true passes.
Right.
The defense splitting passes that we saw from Japan. So the aerial ability, I think, where that would come in would really be a player on the field that can help us to defend against corners or free kicks from the opposition and be able to head the ball out as part of the defensive unit. But as part of the everyday work of a CDM, aerial duels is not the most critical aspect. Onto the more critical aspect is your ground dueling. And 56, Anthony, sorry, let me compose myself. Jordan Cousins has won 56 ground duels at a 57% success rate. Anthony Grant has won 202 ground duels at a 64% success rate. Kevin Stewart has won 100 ground duels at a 52% success rate. I'm going to pause for a cause here because we're getting to a recurring theme, aren't we?
Yes, we are.
64% is the highest. No, yes, it's the highest of any. The second highest, actually. Let me be fair. There's a new person that I found. Somebody brought to me, James Perch, Jamaican with a passport at Mansfield Town. Actually has a 71% success for the season with 101. But 64, before we stumbled upon James Perch, is the second highest ground dueling percentage. And when you're in the 60%, winning nearly 6 out of 10 ground duels that you go into is impressive. But there's also another theme, and I don't want to lose Mr. Kevin Stewart. They were the 100 ground duels won, right? Because I don't know if, Simon, you're seeing some complementary aspects happening. Are you beginning to see that we may have here stumbled upon our own Calvin Phillips and
yes, I can see that.
Declan Rice combination? Our own Kante and Jorginho combination?
I'm very excited about the Phillips and Declan Rice commission. You got me very excited there.
What I'm seeing based on these initial numbers, and we're going to delve a little deeper in this video because, as I said, this is the only place you can come and get credible facts. Simon was doing it a long time before I joined the team, and I think I brought something to enhance it with the numbers. But Reggae Boyz commentary is not an opinion station.
Nope.
This is the fact station. There are other channels on YouTube that we respect, but those are the opinion channels. This is the channel for the hard, cold facts. The pretty up thing now going around here.
Nope.
I've seen a sort of Beauty and the Beast. I've seen a good cop, bad cop. And I'll let the puss out of the bag.
I see where you're going.
Clearances, interceptions, and blocks. Those are what you would define as defensive actions. So these three, pay attention, people, is going to tell you which of these players are most defensively sound. Clearances. 9 clearances all season for Jordan Cousins. 60 clearances for Anthony Grant. 10 clearances for Kevin Stewart. That's 6 times the number of clearances made.
Mm-hmm.
Interceptions. 2 interceptions for Jordan Cousins at Stoke City. 12 interceptions for Anthony Grant at Swindon. 2 interceptions for Kevin Stewart. An interception speaks to the ability to read the game and ability to see danger and snuff it out. Blocks as well, when you look at combine those two. 8 blocks for Jordan Cousins all season. 43 blocks for Anthony Grant. 12 blocks for Kevin Stewart for the one half of the season. That means that if you say that Kevin would have performed the same over the whole season, he would only be up to 24 blocks. And the 43 is certainly above the 32 blocks that Lewis Baker had. And we keep saying that Lewis Baker is our gold standard. Clean sheets. When on the field, Stoke City kept 6 clean sheets when Jordan Cousins was playing. Swindon Town only kept 3 clean sheets when Anthony Grant was playing. And Blackpool kept 6 clean sheets when Kevin Stewart was in the team. And so kudos to Kevin and Jordan for the clean sheet for their team. But I want to, as I was fair to the other players, I want to be fair to Anthony. You know, we may not know, but what happened to Swindon Town was that halfway in the season, their main central defender, their star central defender, went out with a season-ending long-term injury.
Right.
And 5'10" Anthony Grant was asked to deputize and play at the back as a centre back. And the general, being the general, in afraid of nothing, took up the charge. So imagine that, you know, he would have been going up against 6'2", 6'3" forwards.
Yes.
And really didn't have a chemistry before. It would have been the first time he's been playing CD centre back, but adapted to the role, took on the challenge, never let down the team. Sort of what Damian Lowe did for us in the Serbia game. Asked to go out there and be the CDM, and he took it on. But I'm going to say this. I don't think Anthony is a CD, and I don't think Damian Lowe is a CDM. And there we go. In terms of yellow cards, 1 yellow card for all season for both. Sorry, Jordan Cousins had 2 yellow cards. Kevin Stewart had 1, and Anthony Grant had 3 yellow cards. So with all of that tackling, all of that blocking, all of that ground dueling, only 3 yellow cards, and I think that's impressive. None of the CDMs were red carded during the season. But why I say that the carding, Lewis Baker had 7 yellow cards. Isaac Hazen had 8 yellow cards. Marvin Bartley in Scotland had 12 yellow cards. Because when you're doing that dirty work, you normally pick up what they call professional fouls. Sometimes you have to take one for the team. And certainly with Anthony and Kevin, but particularly in the case of Anthony, to be putting in 202 ground duels and only picking up 3 yellow cards, and I might probably in another life do a yellow card to ground duel ratio, but you're certainly seeing that it's the most superior ratio, because you would be probably about 1 yellow card every 80 ground duels, which is insignificant. And certainly with Kevin Stewart, he only has 1 yellow card in 100 ground duels. Both impressive in terms of the cleanness of battling, and that's impressive. So I'm going to go back to my statistics, and what does it tell us even deeper? Simon, right now, before I go take the final lap, and I know many of you stay with us throughout the 1 hour that we do these programs, because when you're putting out the facts, you just have to put out the facts. And sometimes it takes a little length of time more than glossing over the thing and say, yo, that man, they a big baller. Bring him in outside.
Simple. Yeah.
No. We analyze so that when we say something on Reggae Boyz commentary, it is credible and you can take it to the bank.
Yes, sir.
As fans. And if the GFF and the technical, they can deposit it. I'm not going to let the puss out of the bag. Let us do something visual, because we've been doing a lot with numbers. Let us look at the heat map for the 3 players. And they say numbers can't lie, but the satellite doesn't lie either. We will see what you have been doing all season. And let us start in the championship with Jordan. And I will share his heat map. Played 19 games, started 8. I want us to take a look at that heat map there, Simon. He's a lot in the defensive, in the middle third. Not much in the final third. So he's not joining up with his defenders. He's not doing much work in the 80-yard box. If you see, very light there. His red areas are within the center circle, and seems to be doing, he has a few red areas here. If you're seeing me on the screen right here, are you seeing my mouse? To the right side of the defense. But very light out here, and very light in this attacking, where you would be linking up now with the attacking midfielders who would be here. So very light work in the attacking half. Much of the work centered around the center circle and to the right of defense. And what does Sofa tell us? In terms of his strengths, this is one site. I have another site that I look at for scouting, but in terms of his strength, Sofa found that Jordan has no outstanding strengths, and his weakness is passing. And if you recall, we said to you when we did our stats, he was at a 72% passer, which we said was low. So as you can see, Simon, the credibility of Reggae Boyz commentary. I am concerned with a linkman who seemed to can't pass the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk it straight. Because when the player them not play good, we don't want to say, why you talk about a person and they not come in. Right? Let's look at Kevin Stewart. And I hope the tell us in the comments what you think about these heat maps, please, so that we can read them and see if we are seeing things the same. Let me go quickly to Kevin Stewart. Notice anything, my lad? Is correct. You see how much red?
Yeah. Busy.
Busy
Campbell.
Busy signal. If Kevin come in, that is going to be your name, you know. Busy signal. Do you remember Darrell Powell, aka the lawnmower man?
Of course.
Who mowed out every blade of grass for Jamaica?
Mm-hmm.
From Derby County, he was.
Mm-hmm.
Came and gave a good account of himself.
Yeah.
Big up Darrell Powell. Anyway, stand up, my brethren. But this is the beginnings of a very good central defensive midfielder. If you're following my map, he's not only working within the center circle, he's on the left, he's on the right. So it's very balanced in terms of helping out both the left back and the right back. Because, you know, when they go up the field, you are expected to slot in as the CDM. And what I like about this from Kevin Stewart is what's happening here in the opposition half. He's not going to run beyond the attacking, because if you notice now, we've gotten very light yellow here, Simon.
Mm-hmm.
Not in the box, which means it's a very disciplined player. But he's operating here, busy being an outlet for probably the one-touch passes and certainly breaking up play, breaking up the attacks, the counter-attacks, breaking up the counter-attacks when Blackpool's attack breakdown. You see that he's doing a lot of work in the opposition half before the attacks get to across the half line. And so I want to pay kudos to Kevin Stewart. And I want you to bear in mind, remember how light the map was for Jordan?
Yeah.
Kevin Stewart, aka Busy Signal. That means that when they come, next time the Japanese come dialing up down the middle, you're going to get a busy tone. And let's look at the general, Anthony Grant. Let me share this with you. Wagwan popcorn. People, at this you call heat map. You know, when you come to Jamaica, sometimes you have to get a new name. You know, I'm going to christen him. Burn up. The man that burn up the road, brother. Simon, you seem a bit shell-shocked.
No, I'm not shell-shocked at all. I'm aware of the ability, and I know these three men that we've spoken about can do the job for us. So the numbers, The ability is not a doubt for me. It's to get them in now, saying, come on home.
Well, all three want to play for Jamaica. My question is, who should get the call? Although I think all three, and they prove themselves in training.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I think that's a no-brainer. But certainly to the Gold Cup, I would say to you that a player like this, who are bun up road, deserves to be called into the training 60-man squad. This here.
So
I don't want to pause and take a moment. Just look at the equity of the left and the right maps. Look at the work done, and it's almost like a block. If you notice, when you come up here, he is nowhere beyond the 18-yard box. I mean, a couple of times he might pop up here and there, right? But nowhere beyond here. And like Kevin Stewart, you see this work being done here is where you're breaking up the counterattacks before it comes into our half. And this is the hallmark of a great CDM. Not a good CDM, a great CDM. Look at the redness in the center of the box. That's central midfield work. But what the other two don't have, I'm going to point you, Simon, to just take a look at the work done within the 18-yard box. See those red on the right-hand side of the 18-yard box? Those are clearances, those are last-ditch tackles, etc. And so we have busy signal Kevin Stewart and Bun Up Road Anthony Grant, aka the General. And if I could just indulge very quickly, I want to just look at Lewis Baker, who we said was the gold standard, just to see what we were looking to, hopefully to come in. Let me do this quickly because I know some people love it, Simon. Some people are dedicated to the Reggae Boys. They will stay with us, watch a video, so that when you're talking to your friends at the pub and the bar, you can talk facts, even if you're under your white rum. You can count on Reggae Boys commentary for the facts. Can you bring up Lewis Baker's sheet? This is the standard we want to get to. And even redder. So we already said that Lewis Baker is the best of the CDMs. Playmaking and direct free kicks are his strengths with no outstanding weaknesses. And you can see here, he controls and dominated the middle of the park in Turkey. And so what I'm going to use is to pause there. And we're going to be moving a bit quickly now, stepping up the pace. I'm going to pop back to just 1 minute on Anthony Grant, not because we're plugging, but because I just want to look at what Sofa has described as his strengths, what he brings to the table. Let me get to Mike Betts and share. And I think we're going to go for less than 10 minutes so that we can get ready for the Reggae Girls, Simon.
Yeah, I need to go shower, man. So I was gonna say, if I give me a pecking order right now, Anthony Grant, Kevin Stewart, then Jordan Cousins. That would be my pecking order.
And I would have a pecking order that would say to you, and Sofa has pointed out, let me just really quickly, Anthony Grant's strength is his positioning and his ground dueling. And we saw that in the figures. I think that what would serve Jamaica best is Anthony Grant alongside Kevin Stewart and Ravel being given the free role for the Gold Cup. Because we have Daniel Johnson out injured and Bobby Reed to come in the mix. What do you think of that?
I like the idea.
I think we would see the best of Ravel, but I want to hear more of what you have to say as we take
it's a point it's a point that I wanted to make earlier, but it slipped my mind. But I wanted to say that Daniel Johnson, even though he has the ability to play deeper, he is not a natural, you could say, holding midfielder. So he is better a little bit higher. Now, I understand the point you're coming from to give Ravel all the freedom in the world, especially bearing in mind the type of character he is.
Yes.
However, if Ravel isn't at a club by September, I would love to have Daniel Johnson right behind him. So with Daniel and Anthony Grant, because to add that distribution alongside Ravel. So that would be my only tweak. But I'm on the same page. If Ravel has a club by September, then Anthony Grant and Kevin, so that Ravel has all the freedom in the world to do what he wants.
But by September, remember that we would have Ravel there. We ought to have Liam Bailey on the right and hopefully Nathan Redmond on the left. Problems.
Oh boy.
But we are talking about the steel. I think we have 2 planks of steel that we ought to look at in the Gold Cup, in a training session, in the training camp, and see who is the real deal. The numbers don't lie. And in my final minute, I'm just going to share one more screen. We are at 11 minutes. We're going to cut off in the next 3 minutes because I'm not even going to give you an outro because this is so important. Let me share this last screen. And I really want to do that so that the technical staff of the JFF can have something to look at. They can give us a call at any time. You know, Simon number and Simon have my number, and we'll be happy to speak to you. Just bring that up, and we're going to leave that on the screen. When you look at all the categories that are there, look at all those stars. Shots on goal, 11 shots, Anthony Grant to 5-3. Shots on target, 5 shots, Anthony Grant. All the stars are under Anthony Grant. Chances created, passes attempted, pass accuracy, long passes, 196. So of the 1,342, less than 200 of them were long passes. Long pass accuracy, 63%, vis-a-vis Kevin Stewart, who has a long pass accuracy of 35%. Right? Passes in the opposition half. I wanted to make this point. 445 passes in the opposition half. That means that Anthony Grant is partaking in the attack versus 192 versus 102 for Jordan Cousins. In terms of his thing of pass, just look over here. 425 forward passes versus 204 back passes. So his passes are what you would call, Simon, effective passes in terms of starting an attack. You know, I have here the left-hand side, the right-hand side, but as you go down, all the stars, meaning, are on the side of Grant. Tackles made. Look at this. He's made 49 tackles and only conceded 14 fouls from the 49 tackles. And we take you all the way down. And I'm going to just roll out with this because some of these figures we went through before, so I won't go. Take-ons 8, successful take-ons 57%. So this is not a player who's huffing the ball up the field. He's not a player who is short passes completed 968 short passes as opposed to 178 unsuccessful. So 8 times out of 10, the pass is going to reach you. And so our recommendation here, and you can mull over this video, I am going to make an appeal, Simon. Get onto the social media handles of the JFF, Coach Whitmore, Mr. Speed, the president, and say, give Anthony Grant a look. We can't tell Coach Whitmore who to put on the field. That would be disrespectful. But we certainly can say that we, the fans, would like to see the general, Anthony Grant, a.k.a. the judge, a.k.a. Bonap Road, given a look in for the Gold Cup in the 60-man squad. And if he's not good, if the numbers are lying, send him back home to England. As with any player.
Yep.
But age is not a number. The pecking order out of England for the last season certainly tells you that Anthony Grant, who was developed by Jose Mourinho, Port Vale Player of the Year, Swindon Town Player of the Year, Away Supporters Player of the Year, 3 times he made the team of the season. I don't think neither Kevin Stewart nor Jordan Cousin has any accolades or awards that I could have discerned from my research. If they do, I apologize, and they can just let me know and maybe big it up same way. But Anthony is certainly the most awarded player, and his numbers don't lie. And as we said before, Anthony alongside Ravel, along with Kevin Stewart, along with Bobby Reid, dangerous things can happen in CONCACAF. GFF, let's put some steel. We have a foundation. Let's put some steel and then put the building blocks around. Allow Tyreek McGee, Peter Lee Vassell, those are the creative players to shine.
Mr. Blake.
And let me come out of Mourning.
Yes, do that. Because Japan is the past, and Orlando is the future, and Qatar is the vision. Reggae Boyz fans, thank you very much for all your support.
And the USA game against the girls is the present. CVM, when you go to CVM, hurry up. Hit the like button quick, and then hit the CVM button. Anywhere you're there. Is there a link, Simon, that you can put for those overseas? We know we have thousands of overseas followers that they can catch the game.
I'm working on it.
Please do that and drop the link, both in here and the other video. Link. Watch the girls. Jamaica, peace out. Stop the senseless killing. Let us all live as one.
And that
most beautiful paradise.
Jamaica is a gem of a nation.
Land we love.